I rise to speak about the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, and then I will be asking unanimous consent to consider legislation. We included the Restaurant Revitalization Fund in our March legislation on COVID relief. We did that because of all of the industries affected by COVID-19. Restaurants have been some of the most difficult businesses to survive COVID-19. They were ordered by government basically to shut down at the beginning of COVID-19. Then, as we started to make progress, they were at much restricted operations. And even to this day, restaurants are still not up to their full capacity. Their revenues have been very much decimated as a result of COVID-19. We came together in March with bipartisan legislation in order to do something about that. And we included that in our legislation, $28.6 billion of relief for restaurants. Now, what it did is cover some of their revenue loss as a result of COVID-19. It gave them a lifeline to be able to survive this pandemic. And we projected that $28.6 billion would be the need, but we were wrong. We were wrong because COVID-19 was more severe than we thought. Restaurants were more badly damaged than we had anticipated, and there was a great deal of more demand and need than the $28.6 billion. We are now being told by the Small Business Administration that the right number was $71.3 billion, or an additional $42.7 billion that is needed. I've introduced bipartisan legislation to provide this additional authority to the SBA to complete this program. It's bipartisan. My partner in this is Senator Wicker. We're joined by Senator Schumer, Senator Murkowski, Senator Cantwell, Senator Ernst, Senator Sinema, Senator Cassidy, Senator Stabenow, and Senator Hyde-Smith. And I might add, there are many, many more senators on both sides of the aisle that very much support our efforts to live up to our commitment. Now, why do we need to take this up right now? This is a matter of life or death for many restaurants in our community. There's also a matter of fairness. We have two restaurants side by side in the exact same circumstances, submitting their applications on the same day, having the exact same need. Both were advised that they would get funding. One got funding before the $28.6 billion was exhausted. The other that was told that they were going to get funding, they won't get funding unless we act. That's not right. There's a matter of the credibility of the United States Senate and of Congress and of government. We say we're going to do something, we should live up to our commitments. The urgency of getting this done is now. I don't think there's a senator in this chamber who hasn't heard from restaurants in their state about how badly they need these funds and how they thought these funds were going to be in their bank and they're no longer in this bank. I've heard from so many senators directly about this. The urgency is now. And let me just anticipate one other argument that I might hear. And that is, well, where are we getting this money from? Well, Mr. President, legislation before us takes $36 billion out of the small business programs. $36 billion. So this is paid for by the rescissions that have been made in this legislation that we are considering that's before us today. So for all those reasons, this is a fiscally responsible thing to do. And then lastly, let me say, before I yield the floor to the majority leader, let me say that we made a commitment to help our small businesses. We did that, Democrats and Republicans working together. In some cases, we overestimated the dollars that we need. In some cases, we underestimated the dollars that we need. But we always came back and provided the full funding for the programs we've authorized. And in total, it's not much different than has previously been authorized. This is a matter of fairness and a matter of absolute need that we provide the extra money now for the restaurants. And before I make my unanimous consent request, I would yield the floor so the majority leader can get the floor.
Well,